Hello and welcome. Becky Carlson here with Stampin' Demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you some fun that I've been having with my blending brushes. The brushes come in two different sizes. There's the larger size, which is what I'm mostly using in this video, and then there's the new ones that are a little bit smaller. I'm going to show you how to make this cute card just with the blender brushes. So let's get started. I'm using Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, Mellow Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Parakeet Party. Okay, I've got my card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to fold that in half. Then I've got the top part, which is going to be 4 by 5.25. I'm just going to use my Stampin' Up! Grid paper to do this. Okay, so I kind of eyeballed a center point on here, and I'm just going to lay that grid paper right over the top of it, doing like fanning out from that point. This paper is pretty thin, and so it gives us a nice edge. Okay, so I will just get my ink and my brush and get that inked up. I'm starting with the Tahitian Tide. It's a nice beachy blue, I think. So you're just going to get a lot of ink on the brush, and then I'm just going to start on that grid paper and rub it over onto my card. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. Just brush it on there. The more ink you get, the darker it will be. Just move it around until it's how you like it. Okay, next I'm going to take my Starry Sky, open that one up, and then I'll just take my paper and just rotate it just a little bit to give me another little wedge of my color fan, if you will. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this ink. This one's a little bit darker. Got some purple going on there, so again I start off the edge. Now you notice that I'm not masking off the other side of this little wedge piece. That's because I don't mind if my colors kind of blend together. I mean, it is a rainbow, so just kind of let them blend together a little bit, and that's why I'm going in this direction, so that the colors can blend together and they're nice and happy together. So once you get that how you want it, I'm just going to do this again. Now I'm opening my Melon Mambo stamp pad. This is an old style. You still have to click these ones. Okay, I'm going to turn that just a little bit, again getting my little wedge, and you can measure this out and make it exact. I'm not an exact stamper. I just kind of do it so that it looks how I want it to look. Okay, ink it up again, go from the side. By now my Stampin' Grid paper is getting a little bit colored. I probably should have turned to another edge so I didn't take any color, but it worked okay. Okay, so then do the same thing. Now I've got my Daffodil Delight stamp pad. And this is probably where I should have gotten a clean edge, but again, it's a rainbow, so it's okay if it kind of blends together. But do the same thing. And again, you can see that my wedges are not perfect. I could have measured it and made these all exactly the same size, but I didn't. You could do that. Okay, and then I have my last color here, bringing in my green. Just starting from the edge, bringing that beautiful green color in. I love this green. It's just so, I just feel like it's a happy green color. It's very fun. So get that all on there, and then you've got your little rainbow background. Okay, so I'm using the Covered in Sunshine stamp set. This is a new one. It's rubber mounted so that we can get those nice clean lines on these detail words here. I liked this one because it's just a rainbow shape of words, so I'm going to put that on there, and I want to make sure that I have room for my little clouds. You can't see because I don't have it high enough here, but I'm putting my clouds on there and making sure that I have room for them underneath my words. Okay, so I'm taking my cloud punch here, and I'm going to punch out 3 little clouds to put on the bottom of my rainbow. Just kind of makes it look like the faux rainbow that I'm going for here. So before I stamp this, I want to make sure that I've got room. And I didn't put this high enough for you to see, but I'm laying those out towards the bottom of my card there so that I'm sure that I have room for my words to fit above it. And then I will pick up my stamp, move my clouds out of the way, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp these words. So for words like this, you want to stamp it probably 3 times usually to get a good coverage. You see down there at the bottom that it's missing a little bit. So stamp it 3 times. That's usually my magic number. And then I've got a nice thick coverage on my fine line words. Okay, then I can pop that out and assemble my card. Okay, so I've taken my card base. Again, it's 8.5 by 5.5. And I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive to stick this on there. Sometimes I'll also layer this a couple sheets of the cardstock and pop it up with dimensions or something. But for this one, I'm just going to layer it on there so it has a nice white border all the way around it. It's a little bit juicy, but look how vibrant those colors are. I just love those. Love those colors together. Okay, then I will take my little clouds and I'm going to glue 2 of them directly onto my card underneath the words there. And then the last one I will pop up to give it a little dimension. This would also be super cute with some glitter paper. I've done the glitter paper a lot with the rainbows. Just makes it look like sunshine bursting through. So that one will go right there in the center. So I'll take some of these dimensionals, stick them on there, and then I'll have some dimension on there. You could do a lot to add to this card. You could add a lot of glitter or bling or a ribbon here or there. This one I did for a class last week, and we just kept it kind of simple. We had fun with the blending of the colors and spacing them out. So there is my card. I did end up taking my Wink of Stella and tracing around the edges of the card, or around the edges of the clouds, and where the colors meet. Okay, so for those of you that have never used a Wink of Stella, these are going to be your favorite thing. But you might get frustrated when you first get it because you don't know you have to take out that little black washer. So twist it apart, take out that little black washer. Now your glitter magic potion can get down to the end of your pin. So it starts to dry. You have to give it a little squeeze here. It's just like those old paint pens that you use for crafts. Squeeze it in there and then you'll see it coming down the side, and that's how your glitter will get in there. And these actually last quite a while. I use them on almost everything. It just gives it a nice little shimmer. It's great for those people like my mom who are allergic to glitter or just maybe don't like it getting all over their house, and so it gives them the shimmer without that loose glitter everywhere. So I'm just going to trace between the edges here, add a little bit more. If you layer it on top of itself a few times, it can get really dark and really glittery. It's kind of hard to see on here, but in person it's got a nice shimmer to it. So that is how I finished off this card. Okay, so since I had my blending brushes out, I thought I would go ahead and do another card using just the blender brushes. This one I'm actually using one of our stencils, and I'm going to make a card with this. So I've got the same base, the 8.5 by 5.5 card base, and the 4 by 5.25 topper. So what you see underneath the stencil here is that 4 by 5.5 piece of the thick white cardstock. So I'm just taping this down to my grid paper, and then I'm going to go back to my blending brushes and see what I can do with this. So with this one I'm starting with some pumpkin pie closest to the center, and then I'm going to do that same Daffodil Delight that we had on the last card coming out from that. So I'll ink up my brush really good with that pumpkin pie and then just brush it across those ridges and coming out from the dark circle in the center. So you want to try and hold this so it doesn't move around. That's why I taped it down. So I want it to be dark in the center going out, and then I'm going to add the other color so it looks like it's getting brighter as it goes further away. So now I'll transition over to my Daffodil Delight and ink that one up. And I'm going to kind of go out from this one because I don't want to get underneath the stencil, so I'll just rub out. But you can see how these colors, they blend really nicely together. And again, the more color or the more ink you put on there, the more you're going to have to work with. So I'm just going to go out. I love this stencil. You can do it in all kinds of different colors. You can do it where you've got one color in the middle and then the colors change as you go out, or you can have it like a color wheel where they change as they go around. Of course, it had to move on me just a little bit, but it's easy enough to line back up. This is a good one to start with if you're just new to stencils because it's easy to line up those lines. You could also do it in one color and then offset it a little bit and give it a three-dimensional look. So there's my background. I'm just going to use that. I've got that big white circle in the middle, and I'm just going to put this stamp over it. This is from that same stamp set that I used before, so I'm just going to stamp this and layer it right over that empty space. Okay, so I stamped it and then I fussy cut it out, just a loose cut around the image, and now I'm just going to layer it on here. Look at that, the black with the bright yellows. I think it just really pops. So I'm going to take my brush. I don't even need to add any more ink. I still have some left over from sponging over that stencil. I'm just going to rub a little bit around the edges just to kind of give it some dimension. You could do more or less on here. This would also look really good if you embossed these words, and they would have a little bit of a shine, and that would really stand out. That would look really pretty. My purpose is just to focus on the blending for this card right now. Okay, so I'm going to put a good amount of dimensionals on the back of this here so that it has some stability. Okay, so I want to add a little bit more dimension to this, so I'm going to actually put some ribbon behind this. So I'll just put some of the snail adhesive on there, just covering up that white circle. I've taken some of our yellow ribbon and I'm just going to zigzag lay it across here. I don't know who I saw that did this, but I liked it. It's just a real easy thing. If you hate tying bows, this might be the thing for you. And this gives you a little bit of wiggle room, so I actually need to make it a little bit longer. I do like that about the snail adhesive. Just peel it over there. If I'd used the tear and tape, that probably would not have come up so well. So just zigzag it across there and then stick your words right on top of it. And then it's like a fake bow that you didn't have to tie. I know some people are very anti-bow. Okay, then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to adhere it to my card base. Okay, you remember that I started with a white card base, but after looking at this, I thought it would just really pop with a black card base. So I swapped that out. So now my card base is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's going to be a top folding card this time, just because. That's the great thing about paper crafting. You can switch it around all the time. So I'm going to pop this on here, and then looking at it, I thought, you know, this really needs some bling. So I got out my bucket of bling, and I'm going to add some bling. I'm going to go a little bit crazy with it. So this is where I got out my iridescent rhinestones, because the colors just look so nice with this yellow and orange that I put on the card. And I'm just going to layer them all over the place so this thing really shimmers. So I started off with a couple here and there. I was going to do maybe 3. And then, I don't know, something overtook me, and pretty soon the whole thing was filled with rhinestones, and I couldn't love it any more than I do. So hopefully you will be able to go and try some stenciling and just let loose with the rhinestones and make a card that makes you smile. This card makes me smile. Remember to check my website for information on ordering if you'd like any of these products. Have a great day.